7 minutes past 7. I hope you enjoyed the news that came through at 7, and then Sports Mix at 7:15 a.m. All right, so it's time for us to take a look at what the dailies are saying, and we'll be starting off with the front page of the gwg.ng. But before we're going to the papers, my name is Chooks.
And I am Nice Fourth. Good morning again.
All right, so the bold story here from the gwg.ng is FG names 6 more terrorism financiers. That starts on the front page and continues on page 3. Senate passes bill to establish state police, page 5. Alleged cybercrime, Showore sent back to Kuje Correctional Center, page 5. Kwankwaso threatens Primate Adebayo with 10 billion naira suit, page 3. Court sentences 3, including Nigerian to death for terrorism, page 5. We also have Wike delivers as Tinubu commissions phase 1 of Kuje Gwangwalada Road. Starts on the front page, continues on page 3. And that's it for the gwg.ng.
Okay, on Vanguard, we have federal government Gencos at war over electricity sector debt. That story is on page 19. Oil can suspend vigils, directs churches to fence premises over security concerns. Story is on page 14. I don't see level of hunger Nigeria complain about, says Onanuga. That story is on page 9. Senate passes state police bill. It is now federal state police services. Replaces NPF with federal state police services. Details tight safeguards against abuse by governors. Shifts Nigeria from unitary to federal policing model, and president retains sweeping powers to seize control during state breakdown. You can read all of those on page 26. Federal government orders banks, others to freeze assets of terrorism financiers. That story is on page 5. Mba to criminals. You can run but can't hide. Story is on page 8. Man confirms Vanguard newspaper's data showing 1.9 trillion naira decline in credit to manufacturers. That story is on page 20. And finally, nobody gives power, you must take it. Wike tells PDP. You can read that story on page 11, and that's all on the Vanguard newspapers this morning.
All right, now to the Daily Independent, we have DMO ramps up domestic debt, raises 1.2 trillion naira via FGM bonds. Experts warn surging domestic borrowing poses massive fiscal risk. Say domestic borrowing surge threatens private sector lending. Starts on the front page and continues on page 29. NDLEA uncovers another industrial-scale meth lab in Oyo Forest, page 6. Tinubu's administration out of touch with Nigerians, that's from the ADC, criticizes Onanuga's remarks on hunger, page 6. FG invests 217 billion naira in medical education, healthcare training over 2 years, that's on page 7. Turaki-led PDP presents certificate of return to Guba candidates on page 7. Article 4, difficult bail conditions keeping El-Rufai in custody, page 6. Senate approves state police bill in historic security shift, adopts measures to prevent abuse by governors. That's on the front page, continues on page 29. LPPC suspends Mike Ozekome as SAN, page 6. Above the nameplate of the Daily Independent, Kebbi government alerts IGP over new terror group, say Malam. Starts on the front page and continues on page 29. Kwankwaso threatens Primate Ayodele with 10 billion naira suits. That also starts on the front page and continues on page 6. That's the front page of the Daily Independent.
Okay, on the leadership newspapers, we have banks and non-performing loans rise to 9.85% after CBN's forbearance withdrawal. That story is on page 7. State police closer to becoming reality as Senate passes bill, page 4. Governors Gbajabiamila present as 87 senators vote in support. At least 24 state legislatures must approve bill before presidential assent. That story is on page 5. Nigeria backs US sanctions against ISWAP financiers. That story is on page 8. Governor Sule links terrorism banditry to Almajiri system out of school children. That story is on page 23. Court sentences 2 Nigerians, 1 foreigner to death. That story is on page 7. And finally, legal committee suspends Mike Ozekome from SAN rank. That story is on page 4. And that's it on the leadership newspapers.
All right, so the Daily Trust, state police gains ground as Senate passes bill. Starts on the front page, continues on pages 3 and 4. That's a lengthy read there. 2027, PDP candidates to sign agreement against defection. Page 12. Plateau attack, how gunmen killed my pregnant sister in labor room. Page 16. That's a very horrific one there. Organized private sector faults tax laws implementation. Page 19, and that's the front page of the Daily Trust.
Okay, on Al Jazeera Nigeria, we have state police. The eyes have it as Senate passes landmark bill, okays government to appoint CPS. Africa holds key towards industrial future, says Tinubu. That story is on page 9. Health concerns mount over use of chemicals to ripen fruits. That story is on page 20. Sokoto court sentences 3 terrorists to death for arms trafficking. That story is on page 2. Kebbi government raises alarm over emergence of Sai Malam terror group. Story is on page 5. And finally, federal government approves 217 billion naira to advance healthcare training research. That story is on page 22, and that's about it on Al Jazeera Nigeria.
All right, now to the Guardian newspaper. From NPF to State Force, Senate clears path for state police, retains federal oversight, guardrails. That's on page 6. That's the major headline there. And there are images there for the structural transformation, the threats of political capture, all of this, being explained out there with images on the front page of the Guardian as well. Osun 2026, police meet military. INEC, political parties over rising violence. That is on page 5. Let students return to schools. Oyo government urges NUT. Page 5. El Rufai arraigned on fresh charges. Bail ruling fixed for July 1. Page 2. Xenophobia. FG evacuates another batch of Nigerians from South Africa. Page 4. Credits to manufacturers down by 23% to 6.6 trillion naira as capacity utilization drops. That is on page 15. FG backs US sanctions on Nigerians. BDCs linked to terror financing. Page 3. Nigeria targets to 277 gigawatts powered by 2060. Presidency denies Tinubu's "Don't vote for me" comments. Page 3. Presidency detached from reality, says opposition after Onanuga's no hunger remarks. Page 3. And that's it for the Guardian newspaper.
On Observer's Times, we have "Stop Blaming Nigerians for Insecurity," Atiku tells Tinubu. That story is on page 2. Federal government discovers major platinum, lithium, rare metals deposits in Kaduna State. That story is on page 3. Senate moves to stop governors from misusing state police. Limit state police to local jurisdictions. Allow federal intervention under conditions. That story is on page 1. Federal government inaugurates Poverty Intelligence Lab to strengthen interventions. Story is on page 4. Ex-Kano Governor Kwankwaso issues 24-hour ultimatum to Primate Ayodele. Story is on page 6. And finally, Kogi internally generated revenue hit 3.5 billion naira. And we also have police kill 4 suspected sessionists in Anambra State, page 7. And that's all on Observer's Times this morning.
All right, so that's it for the papers this morning. GWG.ng, Daily Independent, Daily Trust, The Guardian.
Vanguard, leadership newspapers, Al Jazeera Nigeria, and finally Observer's Times.
Okay, this morning looks like Bayo Onanuga is not going to hear the end of his comments in an interview that he did on Tuesday, which has been trending from yesterday when it was posted online. We did talk about it, highlight it a little bit on Talking Points, and there is a disconnect between those in the political and ruling class with what Nigerians have on ground.
Obviously.
Yeah, there is a disconnect if the aide of the president, will make such statements about, not seeing the kind of hunger that we are describing.
Nigerians are talking about.
He doesn't know anything about that. So what kind of information are they feeding President Tinubu? Are they feeding him information of everything is well, everything is all right with Nigerians?
We are okay. We are not suffering.
Yeah, just because we have a few people who are buying houses on a daily basis, buying cars and all of that, doesn't mean
changing wardrobe.
Yeah, doesn't mean that Nigerians have it easy in any way. So, basing probably your analysis on what the people around you, because you talked about how it has, aids, assistance, and all of that, and they don't complain. They don't talk about it the way
they're not suffering. Why would they complain?
I mean, they're close to you. They are probably paid, in six figures, paid monthly as I went
weekly.
They have allowances, but the average Nigerian there, there are a lot of people who are not even earning up to the minimum wage, which is 70,000 naira. They're not earning up to it.
Yes, definitely.
Talk about the minimum wage being increased by the government, but there's still people who do not earn up to that. I mean, I've forgotten the state where it was reported that the government was cutting down those people that sweep the road, their salaries from 15,000 to 10,000 naira.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, what are we doing as a nation?
God.
Why is somebody earning 15,000
and you're there very early every morning trying to make the place clean?
15,000.
What can you use 10,000 naira to do?
What can you even use 15,000 naira to do? Then you're cutting it to 10,000 naira. Do they even see Nigerians as humans? That's a very big question really that we even begin to ask ourselves. Do some of our political class see average Nigerian as humans? For you to even consider paying people's parents,
10,000
people's sisters, people's 10,000 naira,
people's boyfriend, people's husband,
10,000 naira. So it's really a ridiculous thing, and it looks like Mr. Bayo Onanuga is not going to hear the end of this because there's been so much pushback on him. They've told him, go to the markets. You probably haven't gone to the markets in a very long time.
I can bet my money on that.
In the market for a very long time. If you're probably scared of it, but there are there are markets here that are very good here in Gariki. If you are scared of going down to remote areas to their markets to see what things are like, go down to
even in the remote areas, things are still expensive.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying that. Oh, if you're scared, okay, maybe ambush or something. Just go to a place where you feel is in town. Go to a market in town and see what is
what the prices are
going for. People are buying 4 pieces of yam for 17,000 naira.
I bought 2 tubers of yam for 1,000 naira.
Okay, all right. So and they are cutting it in pieces for people in the market, breaking spaghetti into nylons for people,
tying
in the market. Tying, I mean, it's just a very sad situation. And then we now have people saying that they've not seen or heard or experienced of what we are saying, and it's not meaning it's true. So we need to end this disconnect between the political class and Nigerians. That disconnect really needs to end. If people were having it well, not making an excuse though, but if people were having it well, we wouldn't hear people selling votes for 2,000 naira, selling votes for 5,000 naira,
selling votes for rice, for
rice. I mean, so please, we need to be really realistic. Mr. Onanuga really needs to do his findings, proper findings, before you come, on social media.
Some things.
Yeah, kudos to the government as well. They are doing roads. He talked about the coastal road and all of that. He was driving, I think it was Ijebu, he said, and then he came across a very good road that was done with concrete, and he was wondering when did this happen. I mean, people are not going to eat roads though, but yes, kudos to the government for doing roads for people. As well, here in the FCT, we know they have been doing roads, expanding,
commissioning since Monday. It's either road or
but the economy needs focus. Jobs need to be provided as well for people to live and survive. It's
Yes.
very important
Very
that we do
important.
that as a nation. All right. From NPF to State Force, that's from The Guardian. Senate clears path for state police, retains federal oversight, guard will. So it's important that the Senate is taking its time, look through everything. They understand that, there are concerns that state police could be wielded by politicians, the governors, to be precise, to oppress people, opposition, So they are actively, making clauses to prevent this. So a thorough look at the clauses that will be included in this bill, take out some, include some, and all of that. And also specifying, duties, jurisdiction for state police,
And
federal police, so there will not be clashes and all of that. It's very important.
Very.
And why this bill is very important as well is because it gives states, the avenue to protect themselves better. Their regional, policing has been doing a lot of work though, but there's been complaints that, they can't wield arms. So there's only so much that they can do. Let's see, what the state police gets to offer Nigerians when it comes to the fight against insecurity. If this will be the solution for us.
Definitely.
Well, in Oyo State, schools are still on shutdown or lockdown as the governor is begging the NUT to return to schools. Do you think they should heed that? I mean, we've had those children for over a month now in the bush with their teachers.
No release.
I understand where the NUT is coming from. If you don't, continue in this stead, there's also that fear that this could be a forgotten, issue. We had, the bishops in Oyo State make a press conference and talk about it, that they don't want a situation where we had the Chibok girls, in the past now happening, with Oyo State, where we cannot account for, some of those girls. Now with Oyo State, we cannot be able to account. So they don't want a situation like that. So I understand where people are coming from when it comes to, still going on strike, still protesting. I think on Monday there was protest as well in Ibadan, Oyo State. So I understand it because there's that fear that we will just move on as a nation.
But then again, it's more like you're shortening the education perception of the kids, of the children in Oyo State. I know it's not safe. They're literally living
their mates are in captivity. So solidarity, standing together with their mates.
Well, I think I don't know, because if you're looking at it from both sides, they're
good arguments from both sides.
Yes, they're good arguments. So I really don't know what to say, but I do hope that something is done about the abducted teachers and students, so that the residents of Oyo State can go back to living can they even live normal lives again?
I don't know. Is there anybody living normal lives in Nigeria? Apparently, apart from the political class, because a lot of them can't afford, security operatives and all of that. I don't think there's anybody living, normal lives. Normally, some people could stay out, late 9, 10, but these days, a lot of people are. So it's not normal anymore.
Yeah, it's not normal.
You're sending
your brain is not calculating.
Yeah, you're sending live updates of your location these days.
To your loved ones.
So no, I don't think that a lot of people are living, normal lives.
So what they're trying to say is we are not normal.
I'm not saying we're not normal. I'm not saying, but there's a change, especially when you keep digesting or ingesting, these stories of kidnappings, killings, and all of that.
Insecurity.
I mean, in Plateau, one of the papers talked about how a woman who was pregnant, Daily Trust, Plateau attack, how gunmen killed my pregnant sister in labor room. So imagine reading that and picturing such a story.
And then talking about the women thing, I think the growing number of femicide in Nigeria is becoming alarming.
Yeah, and this insecurity has added a lot.
Every morning you hear, and it's more about women. It's either the boyfriend kills the girlfriend or...
I think coming to the femicide, there was a story yesterday as well. I saw on X where a guy stabbed his
girlfriend and literally slit her throat to the extent that her head was almost cut out. So I don't understand it. This happens on a daily basis. It's becoming
it's alarming.
So does it mean we're not supposed to be in a relationship as a lady because fear of having your boyfriend do something not nice to
Well,
you?
I don't think that is though, but it's alarming with the number of issues we have when it comes to women, rape, killings, and all of that. It's really alarming as a whole, and we need to
becoming
do
a lot.
we need to do better, as a nation. We absolutely do need to do better as a nation. Well, this morning you can pick up a copy of any of the dailies. You have an insight to all the trending stories. As FG as well named 6 more terrorism financiers, and we need them to go hard on these financiers, name them, shame them, let Nigerians know
No.
that these are the people involved in what is happening to them, the terrible things they are experiencing. Let Nigerians know that as well. We are not going to sweep it under the carpet. So federal government, please do the needful. All right, so I said that's it for the papers. Just pick up a copy of any of the dailies. You have an insight into all of the trending stories as well. And one more appeal to Mr. Bayo Onanuga. Please go and do your findings. Talk to the average Nigerian. Go on the streets, talk to them, see how Nigerians are living.
Who's going to go on the streets?
He should do that.
Yeah,
he should do that.
You think he's going to do that?
He's a need to, since he has been getting a lot of backlash, about it. He should definitely go and see, okay, why are these people giving me so much backlash from my
Are
statement?
you sure he even knows that he's trending right now?
He most definitely will know. If they can know when people post different comments on social media and use it against people,
TikTok, yeah.
and all of that, they
True.
definitely know. All right, so some sports here. The World Cup is still on. We had matches yesterday. Switzerland beating Canada 2-1. Bosnia beating Qatar 3-1. Morocco 4, Haiti 2. That was a very tricky one. It was 2-2 after the first half. Haiti went for it, but Morocco too strong later in the game. Brazil, they blew away Scotland 3-0. For Scotland, they still have a chance to qualify. They have 3 points. For Brazil, Vinicius Jr., 2 goals from him, and Mateus Cunha scoring the third. South Africa beat South Korea by a goal to 0. Mexico beat Czechia 3-0. Mexico 3 out of 3, so big one for them. For South Africa, well, we'll meet in the round of 32. That's what we can say. Other matches to look forward to: Curacao against Ivory Coast, Ecuador against Germany, Japan against Sweden, Tunisia against Netherlands, Paraguay against Australia, Turkey against the USA. And that's it for sports updates this morning. Still Ray Power on 100.5 FM. My name is Trix.
And I am Nice Forth. Good morning.
Yeah, we live in the hands of Michael Jackson. This one's called Blood on Dance Floor, and he passed on this day 17 years ago. So do stay with us. Keep it locked on Ray Power 100.5 FM. Don't go anywhere.